Well, wow. No, this doesn't work, does it? How's life going? Somebody gave me a shortcut to make the YouTube chat automatically work. UNH with another big bump today, 3:15. The thing only works after the stream starts, so the source needs to be reloaded. Oh, you were the guy. So you were the one that did. But I refreshed the thing and it didn't work, so. Hold on, refresh. But I'm copying you sent me paste pin code, so I'm trying that. I don't know if that's different than what showed up in email. How do you feel about the debate last night? How do I feel about the debate last night? It was okay. One thing I think I need to do, hold on. Something went wrong. Okay, I don't think this works, I'm sorry. Womp womp, it can work, but now is not the time to get it to work. Oh, something is messed up? I blame you. When you think about hormonal or copper IUDs, dude, birth control is a thing that is very personal, and you just have to try a bunch and see what you end up vibing with. Because I hear totally different things from different women about how they feel about any particular ones. Like some people swear by the copper IUD and other people say fucks with them and they like the Minerva or whatever the hormone one, and then others don't like IUDs at all, and then others just like to get fucked by yo mama. All right, hold on. Pop out. I'm just gonna do this for now. Hold on. Okay. Wow. Wait. Would you take male birth control if it was approved? Maybe. Somebody just said, why are you so quiet? Wait, am I quieter today? Is that guy, is he fucking with me? Is that guy fucking with me? I switched my accounts over to Fidelity, so I don't know how to fucking... How do I log in? Log in? Oh. Anyone else feel like all the Democrats have to do is say they love and support America and show American pride to get the center right and normies to vote Democrat? I feel like every Republican I know, that's all they care for. Really, though? Is that really all they care for? There's a lot of other rot that has to be dealt with right now. Why are you late every day? Usually your mom just stays over late. And then I have to fucking kick her out in the morning. It's always drama. I had a meeting and I had to write a whole bunch of stuff for our interrogatories and stuff back for the legal stuff. And that's always a bunch of like going through documents and everything, so. Where do I see my... What do I see my My stock. I don't know how to use this website. Okay, back. This. Oh, I'm just clicking. Okay, hold on. Okay. Look for current positions. Okay, I see all accounts on the left. Is this mine? The one that says 782 million? Haha, yeah, boy. Yeah, boy. Just kidding. Oh, positions. UNH. I see. Okay. I'm up 30%. Based. Yikes, this she/her Navy commander is apparently a medical director for transgender healthcare at a naval center in California. Can you please look into this? Pronouns updated. She/her fired. Seriously. Kamala would probably do the same though, right? Do you think? The updated... Their updated complaint is pretty good. He implies the plaintiff is trying to milk him. Okay. The word gooner is slang for someone who is deeply engaged in excessive adult X-rated content consumption. X-rated? You already said adult, no? Jesus. These definitions are from Black's Law Dictionary. Yeah, they have an entry for gooner now. Seems like you were fucking lying. USA bonds crisis. Pisco gets heated in debate versus Prime. What kind of human being are you?
But rather than trying to convince hundreds of thousands of people to have voted for a shit lib, a shit candidate, right? Following a shit president. Rather
the best
than
president
that,
of your
right?
lifetime. The best president of your lifetime.
Who supported
the
a
best
genocide.
president of your lifetime.
Who enthusiastically
it must be
supported
really
a
hard for you to
genocide.
Enthusiastically supported a genocide. True.
Oh, it's the best president of your lifetime who supported a genocide.
Hold on, but
that's
what
weird.
kind of person
That's
are
weird.
you? I'm sorry, no, hold on. Seriously, Pisco.
Was that the DocuSign noise? Why? I'm sorry, Jesus. My God.
What?
What kind of human being are you?
What kind of human being are you?
No.
You
What
abandoned your
kind of-
country. You
no.
abandoned your country.
What
You
kind
abandoned
of-
the Constitution.
what kind
and
of
you
you-
didn't vote.
I will-
you didn't
I will
vote.
absolutely-
What are you
I will
doing? And now
absolutely-
the
I will
people of Gaza are
absolutely
dying
abandon-
on your
I will
fucking name, on
abandon-
your name.
I will abandon any country that supports a genocide.
This is
Absolutely,
your
even my
country.
own,
You
right?
have you
If
have
my
an
own
obligation to
country
protect
does
it.
not fulfill.
You have an obligation
does
to
not
protect your
fulfill-
country, dude.
What about my country's obligation? What about my country's obligation?
Yeah, if you wanted to,
Did my country have an obligation?
you
It has an
work with the people who aren't trying to put an
okay.
authoritarian
And who
state
are
and
the
deport people
Hold on,
because they
hold on,
support
hold
fucking
on.
Palestine.
Who would be? Who they didn't? Hold on, who supported Palestine? And with the administration, was it Kamala Harris who promised?
Way more than Trump. Trump wants to build a fucking casino in Gaza and kick them all out.
Was the person who promised? Who was the person?
Base, okay. So they amended it, but they still provided zero evidence. Guess the magistrate can throw it out now or what? Well, now... wait. I think now we could either reply or we could do a motion to dismiss. I think now we try to do a motion to dismiss. Basically, the only thing now is they're trying to say that well, now they've walked back a little bit the date on the sending the file to Rose. They walked back on that and they're saying that the debate is now in contention. Is that the word I'm looking for? It's not. I think that plaintiff's own filings, like in their own filings, there are pictures of them looking at dates that say like 27-05-. So like it's pretty, these are European dates, I think, by plaintiff's own evidence. So the only thing that it'll come down to is whether or not what goes on with this Abby person, I guess, is the only thing. The mysterious Abby MC, whoever that is. Would you not motion to dismiss the whole time? We could have filed a motion to dismiss on the initial complaint, but the problem is, it should have survived. Like they had a lot of claims and accusations in there. But now that we're through this a bit, they amended their complaint super late. They haven't provided any evidence of any of the other random things that they've had in there. They threw like even more wrong, dumb shit. But at this point, I figure now it's just beneficial to me. If you just want to load it up with a bunch of stupid stuff, it's good for me, I guess. But the only thing that matters that it all comes down to now is the Abby stuff. Yeah, you can file for dismissal. I mean, like when a motion to dismiss, you're looking at the pleading and you're accepting it as though it's true. And then, that's it. So that's why if somebody dismisses a case on a motion to dismiss, you've probably fucked up quite a bit. So I don't know if we can dismiss it. We'll see. It depends, I guess, on the Abby stuff. But the MSJ, the motion for summary judgment, I imagine is probably it should be an easy one, I guess. Again, it's just going to come down to the how much the judge thinks that Abby's testimony with no evidence is, I guess, a matter of fact versus a matter of law. Are you able to get transcripts yet? Nope, still waiting on the ruling on that. What is the Abby stuff specifically? Destiny, I missed that. I was unaware of this, but when Abby was at my place in 2023, Abby was apparently, after I left, she got on my computer and started snooping through shit. And in the process of that, I guess, maybe, I don't know, because I didn't know this until a couple months ago, supposedly she went through my folders on my computer and looked at stuff. And 2 months later, there's a DM. This is the only evidence they submitted. But 2 months later, she's like talking to a friend saying, "Oh, Destiny sent me all these videos of him banging," and then he names Cherry and Pixie, of which I don't even have videos of the former. That's not even true. So my guess is that she just went through stuff on my computer and saw names that she recognized, and she was just like talking shit to a friend. But she's trying to say that I sent her whatever video of Pixie in 2023 or something, but I never have. I don't have any logs of it. They haven't provided any proof of that. And at the hearing, they even said that Abby didn't have any proof of that. They just had that one DM, which I don't know. Can something be hearsay of yourself? Is that possible? I don't know if that's possible or not. No, that's just your testimony. You would testify that this person sent me this video. That would just be your testimony. Why are you asking me a question when you either just Googled or you know the answer? The standard at summary judgment is looking at all the discovered evidence in the light most favorable to the plaintiff, correct? Yes. Well, most favored to the movement, against the movement. Are you going to read the amended complaint? I mean, I could, I guess. They cut out some stuff and they replaced it with more just like stupid shit, I guess. Can you directly say in a filing, I believe this person is lying, this is what likely happened? No, I don't think you would ever say that. I don't need to say that. They have no, it's the onus is on them to provide evidence for the claim, right? Comes now plaintiff Jane Doe, by and through undersigned counsel, and very respectfully states, alleges, and prays as follows. God, this person is so fucking annoying. Fuck, it's so gross. Whatever, I'll read it, I don't care. This action seeks to hold defendant accountable for his unauthorized, intentional, and unlawful disclosure, dissemination of intimate images, and sexually explicit videos of the plaintiff, thereby causing plaintiff extreme emotional and physical distress, depression, anxiety, and harm to her personal and professional reputation. Plaintiff seeks injunctive relief, compensatory and punitive damages, attorney's fees, and any other relief this honorable court deems just and proper as a result of defendant's unlawful, extreme, and outrageous conduct towards plaintiff. Plaintiff brings claims pursuant to, inter alia, the Image Protection Act, 15 U.S.C. Cybersexual Harassment Statute, Florida Statute 74, and other Florida laws pertaining to rights to privacy, public disclosure of facts, and essential. Okay, jurisdiction and venue. Court has subject matter jurisdiction because of the federal law that they're citing for the Intimate Image Protection Act. And that also lets this court hear the state claims because they're related to the federal one right now. These are the two parties. Plaintiff Jane Doe is a citizen of the United States and resident of Miami-Dade, Florida. Plaintiff brings this complaint anonymously due to the intimate and sensitive nature of the materials which form the subject matter of this complaint, despite the fact that she's posted literally her own fucking face in this complaint and publicized it on her own social media feeds, but okay. And then defendant Stephan Bonnell II, for some reason they are still misspelling my name. I don't know how, but okay. It's a citizen of the United States and a resident of Miami Beach, Florida. When I was a live streamer and a political commentator, he's over 840,000 subs on his YouTube channel. He has a huge following on X, Kick, Reddit, and Discord. Bonnell had over 700,000 followers on his Twitch channel before it was banned from Twitch in March 2022 due to hateful conduct. Nice. Plaintiff, known online as Pixie, is also a live streamer as well as an influencer. Is this not the same thing? Pixie has 15,000 followers on X, and on Twitch she has 10,000 followers. Plaintiff began conversing with Bonnell on the Discord platform when she was approximately 19 years old. We know the first date that we messaged. She has that message. I don't know why she's lying about the age. I don't know why she won't just write her actual age. We both should have a log of her first message. Maybe she doesn't know numbers or can't read. I'm not sure. Bonnell was approximately 33 years old. They also know my birthday, and I don't understand why we're approximating ages here, but okay. At that time, plaintiff was a new streamer in the same niche as Bonnell Politics. Approximately 2 years later, on or about September 12, 2020, after multiple conversations about consent and boundaries, plaintiff engaged in sexual relations with Bonnell. Plaintiff was inexperienced and had only had physical relations with one other person prior to Bonnell. This is the only time plaintiff Bonnell had sexual relations. During this one occasion, Bonnell recorded videos of plaintiff and him engaging in sexual conduct. The videos, unbeknownst to plaintiff at the time, sometime in 2022, Bonnell disseminated through electronic means one of the video to a 19-year-old woman using the screen name Rose. Pepe, yes. Rose was a random fan of Bonnell's on his Discord platform that reached out to him on Discord. Bonnell had never met Rose, despite knowing nothing about Rose and not even knowing her real name. Bonnell intentionally shared the video with Rose without plaintiff's knowledge or consent. Okay. Upon information and belief, Bonnell sent the video to Rose on Discord as a video linked to a Google Drive link. This is technically not actually true. I don't even think it was sent using, but it doesn't matter. But Bonnell's customary practice was to upload his sexually explicit videos to a Google Drive link and then share the link. It's kind of, okay. Google offers several privacy settings for shared links, allowing the owner to control who can access a file and what they can do with it. The privacy setting, this is one of the Kiwi farmers' arguments that they're running for. The privacy settings options include restricted, anyone with a link, or anyone in your organization. Bonnell chose the least restricted privacy setting for his Google Drive link. Anyone with the link. This setting makes the sensitive material accessible indefinitely to any third party possessing that link. This ongoing accessibility functionally equates to publicly posting explicit content online. If this was the case, that would mean that literally every single digital thing that you send counts as being published and forever online, because like if somebody has a link or a file, it literally doesn't, this is the same thing in effect, right? But okay. There is court precedent that people have tried to make this argument in the past, and this is not a real argument, but I guess they want to try to make this one. They've walked back the initial date to saying, based on the available evidence to date, it cannot be conclusively determined whether Bonnell's dissemination of the video to Rose occurred on April or October. So the date here is important because if it's on April, then this law isn't in effect and they have no case. There's not a real contention here unless they legitimately think there are 27 months in the year. This is not real. They try to get ahead of this Google Drive link, and they try to say that even if it was just sent as a video file on Discord, even if it was not sent via a Google Drive link, but was sent via a media attachment on Discord, it would still have been continuously accessible. Discord automatically creates the link, and anyone with access to that link can access the video. Every video sent on Discord automatically is embedded with a media attachment link. This link is a live link. Defendant has demonstrated knowledge of this feature because he routinely shares Discord media links in his public chat threads. The same analysis applies to both sharing the videos through Discord or sharing the video as a Google Drive link. Again, this argument is like immediately, well, hold on. If I were to share a digital file with somebody, they could just spread the file just the same as if I were to share a link with somebody. Like, it's the same thing. This is a nonsense argument. And again, there's already, I think the case law I've seen that counteracts this is, I don't remember if it was a 9th Circuit case or an 11th Circuit case. I don't know if there's anything in this circuit. Is Florida the 5th Circuit or 4th? What circuit is Florida in? Oh, 11th. Oh, maybe it was an 11th Circuit case then. That's good for me. How the fuck do they number these again? What the fuck? Texas is 5th Circuit, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Weird. Okay. Also, I don't even think any of this is true. They haven't submitted any proof of this. I don't think there is any proof of this. I don't think any of this. I don't even think I did a link here or whatever. But anyone with the link can view it. No Google account or sign-in is required, and it can be shared with anyone else. Thus, Bonal's disclosure of the video to Rose was not just a one-time event, but rather constituted ongoing dissemination. I think that they have to be very, 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 very careful with this argument too, because I think if they run this argument down too hard, then the argument would literally just be that, because I do know that the way that I initially sent my stuff back to Pixie was just setting her Google Drive links. So if we're going to make the argument that that counts as publishing online, then she consented and acquiesced to it immediately when she received them. Like, so that this argument is just so stupid. I don't know why. Oh, well, I do know why. It's because they're desperate, but whatever. Sometime in March of 2023, Bono began messaging with a fan on Instagram with a screen name ABMC. Over the course of their ensuing relationship, Bono sent ABMC multiple sections of videos to the Google Drive link. Videos that Bono sent Abby MC on the show Google Drive link included one of the videos of plaintiff. There's no evidence of this. I think Abby said she has no evidence of this, and they've admitted they've seen no evidence of this, but okay. On or about November 29, 2024, it's actually a video plaintiff that Bonal shared with Rose and IBMC was uploaded to the website Kiwi Farms by an individual with the screen name Solely Tiny Leaks. The video was also disseminated on multiple other pornography websites, including not fans, blah, blah, blah. The caption of the video on the different platforms identify both Destiny and Pixie. The plaintiff's face is visible and identify the video. This is probably, like, this paragraph alone is one of the most disqualifying and insanely disgusting, crazy things. I don't know why this stupid fucking idiot keeps putting, like, all of this shit just in public filings for literally everybody to, like, it's just the most outrageous, stupid fucking thing. This is, like, one of the most, this is why I don't believe the suicidal claims or any of this other bullshit that she's saying. Like, this is just a deeply unserious way to approach, it's just deeply unserious. But Solo Tiny Leaks stated online that he accessed the videos that he posted on Kiwi Farms from links to Bonal's Google Drive. I get Solo Tiny was able to access the video and then distribute it. Confirms that Bonal's disclosure via an unsecured Google Drive link with the broadest possible privacy setting, enabled ongoing continuous distribution, and we're not one-time events. Literally, anybody that accesses anybody's digital device has access to every single digital file on that device. Like, that's like, I don't know actually why I keep saying digital. This would be true if I gave you like a Polaroid, like if I gave you a picture. Like, if I gave you a Polaroid picture, would that count as continuous publishing? Look, it's such a stupid argument. Shortly after the video was posted, various friends and random followers of plaintiff informed about the dissemination video. Some of the messages are very accusatory. She is shocked, humiliated, and mortified by the dissemination of the sexually explicit video. As of today's date, the video has been, just keep talking about the websites. Nice, go jerk off to my shit. All right. On the evening of November 29th, 2024, plaintiff sends a message to Bonal on Discord expressing her horror. They share the video of her. She asks him if he sent any additional pornographic videos to anyone. He admits his guilt. Okay, not really, but we'll get through that, I guess. Plaintiff asks him to delete any and all videos that he has of her. The leak of the video goes viral and is being discussed by thousands of followers of Destiny Pixie on various platforms, including YouTube, Discord, Reddit, blah, 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 blah. Plaintiff begins receiving messages. Many of the followers discussing the leaks on the different accounts falsely claim that plaintiff exchanged sex for professional growth and favors from Bonal. Okay. Plaintiff feels increasingly humiliated, mortified, and depressed and starts feeling suicidal. On or about December 11th, 2024, she starts writing suicide notes. Plaintiff messages Bonal and tells him that she is just tired of living anymore. It's a matter of time until my family discovers what happened. I feel like the best thing to do is for me to kill myself and schedule a post just detailing my feelings on what happened to try to ensure a situation like this doesn't happen again. Plaintiff then unfriends Bonnell on Discord so that she cannot receive any messages from him. I like how she doesn't admit that she asked me for money to make it so this didn't happen, which is extortion, by the way, but okay. On or about December 13th, 2024, Riz, suicide Riz. On or about December 13th, 2024, plaintiff meets with Bonnell's close friend and business associate Kyla Turner. Plaintiff tells her about her suicidal thoughts, that she cannot bear the humiliation and harassment she is enduring, and that she wants to ensure Bonnell never does this to her or anyone else ever again. Yes, by being forced to give her $1 million. But I guess she doesn't mention that. Okay. Turner tells her she will talk to Bonnell and tell him what they discussed. On or about December 19th, Turner asks plaintiff if Bonnell has communicated with her or added her back as a friend. Plaintiff responds in the negative. Plaintiff continues feeling depressed and suicidal. Like the video is still a viral topic of conversation on multiple platforms. This is not true. People are not talking about her video at all. With people making horrible accusations about plaintiff. On the morning of January 20, 2025, 2 videos on YouTube were posted by 2 different streamers discussing the Pixie leak. The videos include screenshots of private messages of plaintiff discussing the situation with friends and claims that plaintiff took hush money, only cares about money, and does not care about the other victims of defendant. These videos have been viewed by thousands, including one, which of today was viewed by over 90,000 people. The majority of the posts by people assume that Bonnell shared the videos with plaintiff's consent and knowledge. On or about January 2025, in desperation, this is a fucking lie. I've seen her DMs with Aaron, like they're publicly, you can see them on the videos. She had already crafted her statement at least a week earlier. So this wasn't out of desperation. She was always planning on doing this, but she pretends that she was forced by these videos. Plaintiff/Pixie goes online and announces that Destiny shared the videos without her consent or knowledge and that she'll be seeking legal recourse. That same day, Bonnell switched as a response on various platforms, including Reddit Imager, and falsely claims that the video leak happened without my knowledge, consent, or authorization. They're trying to play this weird game where, like, when I say leak, obviously I'm talking about the guy that fucking posted 30 fucking porn videos of me online, and they try to say leak is just sending the video to anybody, so they play this word game back and forth a lot. This claim directly contradicts his November 29th, 2024 explicit written admission to plaintiff that he knowingly and intentionally shared the video with Rose without plaintiff's consent. That is not the claim, but okay. On January 20th, right after plaintiff announced publicly she would sue one of his followers. Oh, and she still includes all these weird hearsay or double hearsay things, even though they have no evidence of this. And in a hearing, they said that all these people deleted their accounts. On January 20th, right after plaintiff announced publicly she would sue Bonnell, one of his followers reached out to plaintiff and told her that Bonnell had sent the video to her sister about 2 months earlier. The follower informs plaintiff that she believes Bonnell is still sending her sister sexually explicit videos of other women without their consent. Apparently, this person deleted their account. I don't even know why this is in here, but okay. On January 21st, 2025, aware of an impending lawsuit and potential criminal investigation, Bonnell starts destroying evidence, including deleting messages between him and plaintiff. They know this is untrue. I've been able to reproduce everything I have. They've been deleting messages, and I know she can't reproduce hers because she was trying to hide shit because she knew that she was trying to extort me. On January 23rd, 2025, Bonnell receives a letter from plaintiff's counsel informing him of plaintiff's intent to sue and demanding they preserve all evidence. On about January 23rd, Bonnell begins to publicly harass and defame plaintiff. Okay. Post on his website. Bonnell's attempt to divert blame from himself and cast blame on alleged hackers directly contradicted by his own prior explicit written admission to plaintiff that he intentionally shared the videos by his text message with Rose, in which he tells her about the video with a young girl that he will send her, and by Abby MC's text message with her friend regarding Bonnell's dissemination of the video to her. Yeah, but it's just a message of her saying she's seen it. There's no proof of this. And there won't be. Bonnell continues defaming and harassing plaintiff on his website. He implies plaintiff is trying to milk him. Milk her. And she's not going after anybody else, blah, blah, blah. And about January 25. Approximately 15 women reached out to plaintiff to tell her they received sexually specific images from Bonnell of other women without the other women's consent. 3 of these women also told plaintiff Bonnell deleted their chat threads after January 23rd, 2025. None of this is relevant. Initially, it was that all these people had also said that they had received videos of Pixie, but apparently all of these people also deleted their accounts or are no longer in contact with her. So nice, okay. Upon information and belief, multiple women, including more full names, and they misspelled her name, have recently come forward. They're not attached, at least one of these people is not attached to this complaint, but okay. Throwing Cherry in here, our wonderful friend, friend of the stream, girlfriend of the Gistical Hour. On or about January 23rd, Bonnell begins a smear campaign against plaintiff. The word gooner is slang for someone who's deeply blah, blah, blah. Okay, nice. So me talking about this is smear campaigns. I guess her Substack doesn't count though. On or about January 24th, 2025, another female political streamer talks about Bonnell's sharing of the video. She informs her followers that Destiny/Bonnell had recorded a conversation with her without her knowledge or consent. She alleges that when she refused to have sexual relationships with him, he became publicly hostile towards her. This is Denims, by the way. All of this is a fucking lie. And then later he posted to his followers that he has the recording and that he could publish it. Then on February 9th, Bonnell retaliated against Denims by posting private sexual text messages between them to his community group chat. Did I post these initially or did Denims? But these were shared like 6 or 7 years ago. But it was just showing that she was trying to fuck me. I wasn't trying to do any weird shit. But okay. On or about January 26, 2025, Hannah Brooke, a follower of Bonnell, contacted plaintiff and informs her that even after the video was publicized on November 29th, but Destiny / Bonnell offered to send the videos to her. This is still a lie. They haven't proved it. Their messages prove that this is the opposite. I guess they don't give a fuck. I don't know. A few days later, another follower posted Brooke's direct messages with Bonnell. After the messages go public, Bonnell deletes the message with Brooke in an attempt to cover it up. Or I just don't want to have DMs with this person who's being a fucking weirdo. Also, when Brooke posted her messages with me, she deleted like 2 or 3 of them where she was goading me on. But also, this is just not true. Also, this claim was never made. And it's not in their submission or declaration either, but okay. Defendant has admitted that he disclosed the video to Rose, and there's evidence that he also disclosed it to other people without plaintiff's consent. No, there's not yet. The defendant could have and should have expected the videos would then be publicly disclosed and disseminated to hundreds of thousands of people online, which is exactly what foreseeably occurred. Again, they need to be really careful with this argument, because if sending videos of yourself to other people means that it's foreseeable that they can be disclosed, then you are effectively cutting off your entire avenue to seek damages, because then the argument is going to be, oh, well, then you should have foreseen that that could have happened. On January 30th, that comes up a lot in the hearing, which hopefully we get to read soon, maybe. Despite elements, he's been actively deleting evidence of his wrongdoing. Nope, I haven't. Specifically, his messages with multiple women who have claimed that he shared. None of this has anything to do with the case. Who I wire my DMs with has literally nothing to do with anything here. On about February 8th, 25, Bonnell. I don't know why they go back between Bonnell and Destiny. This is so. Who wrote this? Bonnell posts on X that he agrees with another post that claims that plaintiff is extorting him. On about February 9th, Bonnell makes another defamatory post on X saying television plaintiff only cares about getting money from him. True. He also informs all his followers that the video can still be seen on Kiwi Farms. The post has over 1 million views as of this date. I like how me complaining about this, they tried to sneak this one into. He tried to get me with this under cross-exam, and he fell apart. The lawyer did, because these guys are fucking crazy. I like how they're literally posting links and search terms in their fucking public filings, and then they're complaining about me saying it's really annoying that all of my shit is still hosted on fucking Kiwi Farms and no one is doing anything about it. Yeah, but good one. The videos disclosed by Bonnell were of a private nature, were never intended for public distribution. Defendant's actions will cause plaintiff severe emotional. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, and then this is just the laws that they're doing. Yeah, do you have to show up at court every time there's an update? No, only for hearings. We only had to show one time. Jesus, but. Hasan suffers amnesia and forgets who Dylan Burns is. I saw that clip earlier. What do we got on the docket for today? Wait, horse, crotch, snake. Do you have any proof of that, or? You know, Abby MC is being squirrely with Jane Doe's lawyers because she's trying to get compensation for her testimony. She doesn't want to do it for free. This reads more like an attempt at cancellation with the amount of random shit in there. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what they're doing. They're just trying to, like, throw random shit in. But, like, again, the only thing that really matters now is the Abby MC thing, which is who the... I don't know. If she actually did get brain damage from that car accident, and that's, like, explanatory of all her behavior over the past year and a half, that would be really sad. It would be even more crazy that Pixie's taking advantage of her to try to keep her case alive. Just intuition. Oh, good one, buddy. What about the dismissal? Well, I imagine next, I think we try to file a motion to dismiss. But again, on the pleading stage, the judge is supposed to read all the facts of the complaint as though all the facts are true. So it would be surprising if he dismissed it here, but I don't know. We'll see. The fact that he invited one, I think, is nice, but... So did the gag order not work? There is no gag order. They were kind of asking for effectively what would be a gag order, but the judge noticed that they were being tricky with the the judge noticed that they were being tricky with... They sent us a motion to agree to, and then we did, but the one they filed with the court was completely fucking different. So the judge denied that one and granted, basically the motion is granted in part, just like an ordinary protection order over discovery information. So whatever we trade back and forth on discovery, we can't like post publicly. Especially in a case like this, I mean, it's kind of fair, yeah? Can you expand on your take on the Google Drive link argument? Why is whether the link is public or private not an important difference? Because it's having a link is the same thing. Like a file is basically the same thing. It's all just digital data, right? Like if you send me a Google link, it's not really, I mean, except for maybe through some maybe hack, but like let's say you send me like a link to a file versus you sending me the file itself. My ability to transfer that file to anybody else is the exact same, right? Like say you send me a picture of your mom versus sending me a link to a picture of your mom. It's the same thing. You can do the same. Like, did you send him my thing? Oh no, don't worry. I didn't send him a thing. I didn't send him that thing. I just sent him a link to your thing. It's like, oh, okay, thank God. But the funny thing is I think it was an 11th Circuit case. There was a case where somebody tried to make that argument because somebody apparently messed up and posted a Google Drive link publicly. I think they posted the link publicly and they included the link up top and it was a public link. And then but the judge ruled that didn't count as public disclosure because I don't remember what the argument was, but even that didn't count as public disclosure, so. Are you able to say why you believe they deleted evidence? Pixie? Because she knew she was trying to extort me. And my guess is going to be that Lauren and her were probably going over the conversations and Lauren probably told her, you have to delete this part because this is like, there's a reason why there was never a specific dollar amount brought up with me, I think. All she complained about was that because the thing in her first message was, one of the things she said when I said, if I could help or whatever, she said, I think that, what was it? It's in the mini fest I wrote about this. She said that, I feel like any dollar amount that I ask for, you're going to say no to, and that's just going to make me feel even worse. And that's the message that she deleted. Maybe because it's the one that came the closest to like bringing up a dollar amount to me. But my guess is Lauren told her to delete that message. But also, yeah, also, when I looked at it, it's funny actually, because I think a hater posted this or sent me some DM, and I didn't realize this until way too late. I don't think I even sent that, video as a Google Drive link, so none of that even applies to this, so it's all moot. But even if it did, all this is stupid, yeah. How did she even come up with 15 fucking million? I have no idea. She took the statutory maximum and multiplied it by 100? I still think you would have been better off paying her off. What, paying her $1 million? Fuck no. That's crazy. Is Lauren just out of any interactions? I haven't heard about her in a long time. She's just a weirdo behind the scenes. Apparently a lot of people are saying good things about this Dexter Resurrection show. Is it actually good? Isn't this like the third or fourth show? Yes, but this one is actually really good. It's ultra normie slop, do not listen. I feel like Rob trapped you into a pointless combo last night. Of course, Obama tied Trump to Russia because the evidence showed a tie between them. That's why the media kept asking questions about it. Well, no, Rob played a game. I don't know if it'd be worth going back over. Rob played a little game where he tried to say the whole point of him bringing up the Clinton plan and the fabricated email from Russia was to prove that the idea of tying Trump to Russia was an artificial plot concocted in the Hillary camp. But by the time we excruciatingly wrestled through every single minor point of evidence. By the time we got to the end, he said, oh no, I never claimed that they got that idea. I just was saying that they were doing Oppo research. And then I think I even asked him, because I walked through 5 stages, like, okay, so they contacted him, this guy does it. So did they do anything wrong in any of this? And Rob's like, well, no. And I'm like, what the fuck are we even arguing about? It's like, oh, well, this is why you're not listening. And then he just like rattled off a bunch of irrelevant shit again. That was, yeah, what a painful conversation. Oh my God. You're going to come out of this whole situation minus $1 million anyway. No, so wouldn't it make sense to settle outside of court and avoid all this bullshit? I don't think I'll get to that level of expense, hopefully. By the time it's all said and done, hopefully we're under 600K, which is still pretty gross. But I would pay 600K to prevent her from getting 100K or whatever. That would just never, she's the most disgusting person I think I've ever interacted with at this point in my entire fucking life. Like, I'll burn through some cash to make it so she's not getting any, especially if knowing that the way that this all ends up and seeing all the filings, like she'll probably get dragged by the end of this too. So fuck her. Like I'm okay with that. Her behavior's just been abhorrent. Why would I reward that, right? There might have been also, I will say though, there might have been some wiggle room for some kind of negotiation, but she destroyed all of that when she posted the Substack. As soon as she posted the Substack, her chances of getting anything were deleted. But my guess is she's probably from a rich family anyway, I guess. If she can waste, because she's not spending, her legal fees at this point must be in excess of 50K, and she hasn't mentioned anything publicly about spending any of the money that she fundraised. So my guess is her parents probably are just paying for all of this. It's a family friend, family favor, and then she just pocketed the 50K because she doesn't make any money online anyway. That's my guess. The New Yorker trashed for inviting pro 9/11 radical Hasan Piker, who called Israelis inbred, to speak at festival. Is this a hot take? I feel like I don't like anything named after any cities or states or the country. I just feel like it's too hard to keep track of shit. I guess now I can if I'm in the world. I grew up so confused for so long between what's interesting, the USPS and the UPS and the, like, is it the New York Post and then the New Yorker and then the New York Times and like the Washington Post, and there's the Washington Examiner and the Washington Times. Like, fuck you guys. Don't use the city names in your bullshit. Do you have time to go over the Taylor Lorenz convo? Sure. What's up? What's up?
Oh shit, sorry. Thought you were ignoring me. One second. Okay. Hey, real quick, I finally got to watch that video of yours where you got to talk to her. There was one part where she said it multiple times, where she was like, oh, well, we made these statements and Chorus never reached out, or 1630 never reached out and corrected them or showed us the contract so that we could see what it actually meant, right? Mm-hmm. You understand why they likely can't do that. It's because they also are bound by a non-disclosure aspect of that contract.
Well, yeah, Brian Tyler Cohen and David Peckman might not be. I don't know if they're like organizational heads or whatever, but the individual content creators. But I brought that up to Taylor. That's why I said, why don't you post the contract? You're not under an NDA. They are.
Yeah, but she's trying to act like Chorus made a decision not to correct her whenever Chorus is they are also bound by a non-disclosure. Most of those contracts, I would be surprised if this one didn't have one, also bind the company to not disclose the connection between them. I mean, maybe it's in there in the contract and it doesn't say that, but my experience
but I'm
is
sure
usually
that Chorus,
it's mutual.
The owner. Wait, mutual NDA?
Yeah, whenever you have a contract like that, a lot of the times whenever it's saying, hey, you can't disclose our relationship, it's usually mutual both ways. It might not be here, but I'd be surprised if it wasn't.
Yeah, I would have to see that, because for at least in the talent agency world, they kind of have to disclose stuff related to you if they're selling you to sponsors and shit. I don't know what parts of the contract, but they wouldn't necessarily do that with. But
That's okay. That's fair, maybe in the talent agency world, but also I would say, but I would wonder if since the way that it's set up is that the creators can disclose their relationship with Chorus with prior consent. I wonder if there might be a prior consent given by those people within the contract, saying like, so then it wouldn't be reciprocal. So I could
Maybe.
see that.
I mean, they could just shoot like, this is our standard contract. They could just shoot that over to,
like an unsigned one, you mean?
Yeah, like this is our boilerplate contract.
But then, but then she always has the like, well, they have their slight differences and we can never know if there's slight differences, right? Like, it felt like her argument there was like, unless we see every single contract that's been signed, there's no way for us to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also was weird because it seemed like they were trying to say like, oh, because content creators would need to get permission to like disclose their relationship with Chorus, because they need to get that permission, that means that they could never do it. But we literally don't know. It might be just as easy as like calling Brian Taraco and being like, can I disclose it? And he's like, yeah, sure. But since you don't have an example of that, they can just run with it as much as they want. But like, I don't really see why that was such a horrible thing. Was that just like
it's because she's relying on, I don't know if she's signed many contracts, and usually audience hasn't. So she's just relying on like spooky terms to make it seem spooky and bad. Like, oh, they're making it so that you have to beg them. You got to go on your knees crawling and begging them to be able to talk about your or like, that's what they're trying to make it sound like, right?
I think it's definitely trying to like imply this like major power imbalance whenever it's like, yeah, it probably is easy to look at it as a power imbalance, but at the same time, it's like Chorus is literally showing up and telling people, we will give you money to do literally nothing different than what you're doing right now.
Sure.
And so it's like, yeah, there's going to be some requests on their side. And like, the hard part for me through all this is it's like, even when they're like, well, some of these people weren't allowed to redline, or some of these people were only given a few days to look at it, blah, blah, all this stuff. And it's just like, what's the issue? Why is that a problem here?
Yeah, you have to say a few days. Like, I would be surprised if this contract was more than like fucking like 5 pages or something. It's probably, doesn't seem like a long contract.
Right. But even if it was 100 pages, it's like, who cares? Just don't sign it then. Like, it's something that a lot of like young law students have to run into when they take their first contract class. It's, you're allowed to write shitty contracts. You're allowed to ask people to sign shitty contracts. And if you don't want to be bound by a shitty contract, don't sign them, right? Don't buy the little doodad that has the terms and conditions that are unfair. Just don't buy that thing. Sorry, you don't get everything you want, right? And in this scenario, it's kind of like, if anything, it's like, if everything in this article was true, my takeaway would be like, Chorus needs to go hire new attorneys to write a contract. It doesn't like imply a bunch of bad faith or anything like that. It's just, it feels like a bunch of like,
I wouldn't even grant it that much. They need to write a new contract. I don't know if that's the case. Yeah.
Well, I'm just saying if it was as bad as they're saying, like if they're saying it's like as horrible, right? Whatever. It's like, okay, then like this is just bad contract construction and bad like legal practices, maybe. But like
maybe. I mean, they signed them, right? I mean,
yeah. And then I think in Rob's debate last night, I caught a little bit of the beginning of it, and then in her debate, both times I felt like. What happened was it felt like both of these people were playing these word games where like they are relying heavily on terms to then shoot forward into the argument that's substantive, and then whenever you try to call them on it, they are able to then retreat back and go like, well, actually these words mean something that makes me win the argument.
Yeah, I was just going to say this. Tom actually was an okay middle guy here. I think I asked him one time, I need like a judge, like a common language judge or something. There are times when Rob did this. There were 2 huge times when Rob did this, and there were a couple times I think when Taylor did it. She did it around that funnel word, where she's using words that, quite frankly, I would bet a lot of money that if you give me a panel of 10 people that have ever signed contracts, but they are never reading funnel, like maybe one person would be warm to Taylor's interpretation, but nobody would ever read funnel as just loop somebody in on an email.
Right, and I think you did a good job of pointing out that there's separate. Maybe it was you that pointed out, or Pisco did in his talk with Aaron, where it was. The looping them in is very clearly in a separate sentence. Yeah. And anytime you're reading a contract, if words are separated or used in different sentences, you are supposed to assume they mean different things. You're not supposed. You would never assume redundancy in a contract.
Yeah, why would you? Yeah, and especially and then the earlier thing too, I would heavily expect to see the word exclusive if that was the intention. When somebody says you will manage your things through this, if that's an exclusive contract, they would say you will exclusively. This will be your sole point of your only representation. Yeah. So yeah, it doesn't make sense for the rest of it to be in there if that was the case. Yeah.
And also one thing that I think was pretty dishonest in her reporting is that whenever you look at contracts, they can say all these things, they can mean all these different things, but like if you really want to understand like an organization like this, you can look at their contracts, but then what you should do is you should look at their actions and the performance of those contracts. It's especially as a journalist, you should be doing this because like there are a ton of companies, almost every company out there will have contracts where they totally do not enforce the terms. They act totally different than the terms, or the way that they enforce those terms is different than how you might expect it when you read it. And so like if she had come in and said, here's what the contract says, here are examples of why I think this contract allows them to do these things, like obviously that would be way more powerful, but it also would just make it feel way less like her just randomly attacking Chorus because she doesn't like them. And like whenever she was saying, so like to the definitions thing, whenever she was talking about the dark money, that really triggered me because she's like, oh, well, dark money has to be political in nature, right? And it's like, Lauren, what article did you just write? You just wrote about a hack. Like you just wrote about a political organization and how it's acting and transparency and why it's important. And then aren't you also famous for writing about libs of TikTok, which is like I would say like a political commentator and stuff like that. Like you yourself are a political actor and you're receiving money. And it's like, and she's able to like infinitely, actually like, delineate between, her definitions and your arguments so that she's always winning. And I felt like Rob kind of did that at the beginning of his debate whenever he was talking about lawfare. Like, I don't know if you remember, but his definition of lawfare was so incredibly broad.
It became if any single person in the entire administration engages in some like immoral or unethical conduct or whatever, then it counts as like Obama's lawfare because the buck stops with him. And I'm like, oh. But also you can tell by the way that people act. It's kind of like what you're saying when you're reading a contract, that like you can tell based on what's in there, like you're never going to write the same thing 3 times. Like that wouldn't make any sense, right? If Rob truly thought that was his debate, was just arguing if anybody acted improperly, then all Rob would have had to have done is said, have you read the Durham report? And I go, yeah, sure, basically. You're like, oh, do you agree with Durham's conclusions that the FBI acted with political impropriety? I was like, yeah, it seems like it. Then that would be it. Our conversation would be 2 minutes long because he would obviously win on that point if that was the whole debate. But that's what he retreated to at the very end. He's like, oh, so you agree with the Durham report, then I do win. I was like, well, okay.
Yeah, so like, and from a lawyer's perspective, those arguments about definitions and things like that, you fight to the death on those. Those are where most of our fights actually happen, because obviously fact issues are for like a jury or a fact finder. But for you, I see a lot of your debates where you don't go into those fights. Like yesterday, like if I had been you in that fight with Rob, I would have said, we're stopping right here and we're going to talk about what lawfare is and we're going to agree on it before we move on.
I mean, I did try that. I did try that with a couple ones. I tried that with the with the reading of the it wasn't a definition, but it had to do with what were those PDBs about? Do you remember that part?
I don't know if I saw that part because I only caught the very beginning of that one. And I had to go.
So it's funny because actually this comes out with the thing I've complained about before, and I said I don't know how to express to people how incorrect this is, right? That if I were to if I were to read an article from the New York Times about like this, apparently there's some SEAL Team 6 mission or whatever, we might read this today, right? If I were to read this article, okay. So like this article in the New York Times opens with, a group of Navy SEALs emerged from the ink black ocean on a winter night in early 2019. Great. Yeah, and then crept to a rocky shore in North Korea, all right? If I were to be writing a paper on a geographical analysis of the topography of Southeast Asia or whatever bullshit, and I were to cite this article and say, look, North Korea has rocky shores. This is a quote from the New York Times about that, right? Well, that's not really what this article is about. Like, yes, that's a sentence in an article, and the article is reputable, and the publication, but that's not what this article is about, right? The fact that those PDBs were about what Obama was asking for when he wanted updates on for the presidential daily briefings was, are they going to literally, or were they able to literally like change outcomes of votes? And then the intelligence was saying, no, they're not sophisticated enough. It would be too much effort. Like, no, they wouldn't be able to do it. If they are trying to do this or whatever, it's just for psychological damage or to undermine the whole system. And Rob is taking that one sentence. He's going, look, they said there was no preference for Putin. They were just trying to do psychological damage. It's like, no. That wasn't about like Putin's overall goals. That was about what would the goal be for a minor vote flip. Right, you could still be trying to cause psychological damage and favor one candidate versus not, But I think we spent like 20 minutes going back and forth on that because a lot of Rob's arguments rest on what I would say are these like poor readings of the language being used. Yeah,
and so like it is as I was saying, it's frustrating because like I understand that that's not entertaining debate. Like I remember whenever I think it was like Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris spent like 2 hours arguing over what the word truth meant, like, and everybody was like, that fucking sucked.
Yeah.
So like, I get why you just get past it, but like, yeah, in those cases, for me, whenever I watch you do it, I see what you're doing. I see how much the other guy's floundering. I just wonder, whenever you get there to kind of a more general audience that maybe isn't as informed as you are, or is maybe a little more as biased as Rob is, it's not possible for them to see what's going on. Like whenever you talk about COVID and how it originated in a lab and how you believe that, you have done so much research that you were able to talk about that with such precision that probably like 99.9% of people wouldn't be able to follow that conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And you would probably, by anybody that understands what's going on, say, oh, yes, Destiny won that conversation. But everybody else would just go, Destiny just said a bunch of very precise mumbo jumbo that I don't understand. He did that so that he could obfuscate, obviously, that person's right. Like, how do you kind of find yourself like cutting that line? Because on the one hand, you want to say, look how much I know about this other than as opposed to you, versus like, let me just say where the audience can understand it. Like,
I mean, it's hard if I don't have. I need to have a judge to rule on it eventually, because we're just gonna go back and forth and not have an agreement, basically. Yeah. Like, and for Taylor, it wouldn't have been possible because I had to keep backing off from Taylor because Taylor was making it clear when she was saying that this isn't productive. The signal there was that she was about to leave the convo. So.
Yeah. Okay. Last thing before I go. You keep saying about the judge thing, and I've talked to some other people about it. You've seen it at legal hearings. Whenever you're in these debates, you, like with Tom, y'all had a judge, and I agree with you. I think he was fair, but I think that whenever you guys are debating, the biggest difference in my mind is that you guys are debating at each other rather than to the judge, right? At a legal hearing, you are debating. You give your arguments to the judge, and the judge will go back and forth with you, and then go to the other person, go back and forth with them. And in that case, what you're doing is you are legitimately trying to convince that person that you're right, rather than convincing a person who disagrees with you that you're right.
Sure.
And in that case, then that person can go, based off of the arguments I've heard, here's the person that I think that is right. Whereas, like, I don't know if you saw Pisco's debate with Ryan Mullally.
No, but I caught some of the... Yeah.
So they had three judges there, and like a kind of a jury, but they still kind of were going back and forth at each other. And to me, I probably can't formalize it, but it seems like that direct blood sports debate makes it harder to kind of reach that final judgment or have a judge come in and step in rather than debating directly at a judge. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just kind of like trying to view around it. But I think you would agree with me, the blood sports back and forth debate is more entertaining than you guys just talking at an unbiased arbiter or something.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I don't know,
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, you have a good one. Good talking to you.
I love you, buddy. Be careful.
You too. Bye.
To that in the chat. All right, hold on a second. Here it is. It's coming right now.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We'll start by signing three very important bills. And Will, would you discuss them, please?
Yes, sir. This is H.R. 2808. This is the Home Buyers Privacy Protection Act. The congressman here was the lead sponsor, so I think maybe he...
John Rose, yes.
...say more about it than I
can.
can.
Please.
Well, it's difficult for Americans to buy a home, particularly after the last 4 years, sir. But with the president's signature today, we're going to make it easy for people to buy a home without getting hassled. For years, their private personal information has been bought and sold in the open market, resulting in them getting innumerable phone calls and text messages. But with your signature today, we're going to put an end to that so that when Americans try to realize the American dream of owning a home, they're able to do so without being harassed.
Good job. Good. It's a great honor, John.
Wait, so what is this EO for?
Okay, there it is. And that's going to help a lot of the homeowners of our great country. John, want to hold that?
Sure.
Thank you, John, very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, Will, you go ahead.
Data brokers.
From a constituent back in Tennessee.
Oh, I could use that at night.
It's an American flag.
That's very nice. I like that. Thank you very much. That's very nice.
Wait, that's a bill?
We have a number of executive orders for your attention, sir.
Okay.
From 1789 until 1947, our nation won some of its greatest military victories under the direction of a Secretary of War operating within a Department of War. Today, with this executive order, you will authorize the current Secretary of Defense and the current Department of Defense to once again embrace this great lineage and once again be named the Secretary of War and the Department of War.
So this is something we thought long and hard about. We've been talking about it for months, Pete and I, and Dan. Dan came into the fold. By the way, a great general. He headed up the...
Just to show you. Fuck, I talked about politics at my lunch. I don't want to talk about politics. I want to play video games. This is like so fucking stupid. So the Party of No War celebrated bombing Iran. That has done absolutely nothing to help Ukraine, Russia. has done absolutely nothing to stop the war in Israel-Gaza, is put us on the precipice of war, I guess, with Venezuela, and is now renaming the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. This is the party of no new wars. But like all of them will clap for this like retarded seals.
I wouldn't call it an attack. I'd almost call that one maybe even more than an attack. What he did with Iran, you saw the success of that operation. It was perfect. In fact, this was sent to me by the great company that makes that particular B-2 bomber, and it was flawless. It was actually flawless. They flew for 37 hours back and forth, and there wasn't a bolt.
I never saw videos of other U.S. presidents sign EOs. It's not normal. Their teacher explains it to them, right? I don't know. When I looked up Biden signs EO, it felt like usually he was the one explaining it. Well, maybe in this one, maybe somebody will explain it to Biden.
It's Climate Day at the White House, and which means that today is Jobs Day at the White House. We're talking about American innovation, American products, American labor. And we're talking about the health of our families and cleaner water, cleaner air, and cleaner communities. We're talking about national security, America leading the world in today. And
hold on, someone's going to come in and explain the EO to him. 1 second.
Pollution-free electric sector by 2035. Creation and economic competitiveness, 4% of all new energy. Why? Because it's affordable and it needs to generate other things. Technologies they invent, they export 1.1 wealth.
Wait, they come in at the end and explain it to him, I think. Oh.
Climate crisis, we can do this. We must do this, and we will do this. I'm now going to sign the executive order to meet the climate crisis with American jobs and American ingenuity. And I want to thank you all. I'm going to go over and sign that now.
Damn. Look at the auto pen in his hand. That thing right there is connected to a power pack right here, and it causes it's like when you cheat with a electric robot thing. That's not 6 feet of distance.
The first order I'm signing is tackling the climate crisis at home and abroad.
Wow, he knows what they're called and everything. He's going to do 3 of them? This is the
next one, restoring trust in government through science and integrity and evidence-based policymaking.
Evidence-based? What a trigger phrase. Wait, why doesn't he hold each of them up for them to take photographs and then smile? Like that somebody just turned on his fucking ass vibrator.
And this last one is the President's Council on Advisors on Science and Technology established.
Huh. Maybe, okay, wait. Maybe, I think somebody comes in and explains this one. Wait, maybe this one.
It's what the core values of this nation call of housing and urban affairs, systemic problems.
Huh. Oh, he's looking for the auto pen. See? He's looking for the auto pen right now.
The memorandum for the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development to redress our...
Oh, well, maybe it's just Trump where people come in and explain what he's signing because he has no fucking idea what's going on. Sorry.
That was out of condition. There wasn't an engine failure. There was no problem. It was a perfect attack, and it knocked out any possible nuclear capability for Iran, which nobody wanted to see, and we weren't going to put up with. So, great job, Dan. And we've been talking about this Department of War. So we won the First World War. We won the Second World War. We won everything before that and in between. And then we decided to go woke, and we changed the name to Department of Defense. So we're going Department of War. And I'd like to ask our Secretary of War.
That feel woke America, 1951 or 49. When did we change it to Department of Defense? So woke. Remember how woke America was in the Cold War?
Can you say a few words?
What can you call woke? And like, if Trump were to come out right now and say that dicks are woke, would like half the population just slice their cock off? Like, what do we...
Pete Hickson, I think it's a much more appropriate name, especially in light of where the world is right now. We have the strongest military in the world. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest manufacturers of equipment by far. There's nobody to even compete. And you see that with this and so many other things. The Patriots are the best. Every element of the military, we make the best by far. So, Peter, I'd like to ask you and maybe Dan Raisin-Cane to say a few words, please.
Mr. President, thank you. After winning a war for independence in 1789, George Washington established the War Department. And Henry Knox was his first Secretary of War. And this country won every major war after that, to include World War I and World War II. Total victory, Mr. President, as you said. Then 150 years after that, we changed the name after World War II from the Department of War to the Department of Defense in 1947. And as you pointed out, Mr. President, we haven't won a major war since. And that's not to disparage our warfighters, whether it's the Korean War or the Vietnam War or our generation. Independence in 1789, George Washington established the War Department. And Henry Knox was his first Secretary of War. And this country won every major war after that, to include World War I and World War II. Total victory, Mr. President.
Yes, total victory.
Then 150 years after that, we changed the name after World War II from the Department of War to the Department of Defense in 1947. And as you pointed out, Mr. President, we haven't won a major war since. And that's not to disparage.
Implying we've lost major... Wait, what does that mean? So we didn't win... I feel like we won the First and Second Gulf War. I guess those don't count? We didn't win in South Korea? Did that not count? All of our NATO operations were losses? Did that not count? Were those DEI wars, or?
Our warfighters, whether it's the Korean War, the Vietnam War, or our generation of Iraq and Afghanistan.
We won initially we did for Afghanistan even. Okay, fuck them.
To recognize that this name change is not just about renaming, it's about restoring. Words matter. It's restoring, as you've guided us to, Mr. President, restoring the warrior ethos, restoring victory and clarity as an end state, restoring intentionality to the use of force. So at your direction, Mr. President, the War Department is going to fight decisively, not endless conflicts. It's going to fight to win, not to lose. We're going to go on offense, not just on defense. Maximum lethality, not tepid legality. Violent effect, not politically correct. We're going to raise up warriors, not just defenders. So this War Department, Mr. President, just like America, is back. Thank you for your leadership and your clarity. We're going to set the tone for this country. America first, peace through strength, brought to you by the War Department.
Yeah, wait, if this is the case, if that's so important, why not just call it the Victory Department? And then you're guaranteed to win every single war, right? Why not just call it the Win-Win-Win Department?
We're back.
Thank you very much. Very well stated. And really, it has to do with winning. We should have won every war. We could have won every war, but we really chose to be a very politically...
$1 million to every single reporter in this room. If all of them say, President Donald Trump, how would you have won Vietnam? What would you have done differently? President Donald Trump, can you please walk us through any of the wars that you think we lost? What would you have done, President Donald Trump? Please. Fuck, I would just love to hear him talk through it. I would love it.
Correct or wokey, and we just fight forever. And then we'd, win. We wouldn't lose, really. We just fight to sort of tie. We never wanted to win wars that every one of them we would have won.
I know no one cares. This is an act of Congress. Ban. You get a 1-hour ban for asking such a stupid fucking question, thinking that our God Emperor President needs to look to some puny, limp dick Congress for the based fucking shit that he does. Actually, you get a 2-hour ban because you want American soldiers to die as well. What, do you want the Department of Defense so you just have to sit there and get shot and killed? You don't like brave American soldiers? You don't like winning? Loser?
Usually with just a couple of little changes or a couple of little edicts. I was told that ISIS would take 5 years to win. And Dan Kane, when I told him how long would it take, he said, I think about 4 weeks, sir. I said, what do you mean 4 weeks? I was told 5 years by the people in Washington. You know who they were? 5 years. I said, you can't do it in 4 weeks. I actually flew to Iraq to meet with him, and I met him at a big air base. And remember that famous day? Right? It turned out to be a famous day for our country because you're now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is the biggest deal. And he is because he did things that everybody said couldn't do. So they said it was going to be 5 years, and he knocked them out in about 4 weeks total, 100%. We took over, and ISIS was gone. And pretty amazing. But we never fought to win, and now if we have to fight at all, we solved 7 wars. We have the one that I thought was going to be probably one of the easier ones, and that's with President Putin and Ukraine. And that turned out to be one that's a little bit more difficult, but the 7 are done. They were supposed to be much more difficult to solve. I solved every one of them, and we're going to get the other one done too. But it turned out to be a little bit more difficult than I thought. And
how did we win 7 wars in 7 months with the Department of Defense? It sounds like that name was doing a lot of damage, no? What?
Done or they'll be held to pay. But because they're losing 6 to 7, it used to be 5. I used to tell you 5. Now it's almost 7. I guess 7,000 people last week. 7,813 people, young soldiers died, Russian and Ukrainian, not American soldiers. But it's a shame. And it's just they're human lives, and I want to see it stop. But General Kane's done a fantastic job, and again defeated ISIS, which they said would take a long time, and it didn't take a long time at all, and did other things that people said really couldn't happen. We have the greatest equipment in the world. We have the greatest soldiers in the world. Dan, say a few words, please.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President. It's a true honor for me today to represent the incredible men and women of America's joint force. Today and every day, the 2.8 million service men and women stand ready to fulfill our sacred duty to protect America at home and abroad. As the President said, America's military is the single most powerful fighting force in the world. The mission you and the Secretary have given us is clear and unambiguous to deliver peace through overwhelming strength. And I remind everyone that the U.S. military can reach any adversary at the time and place of our choosing. Service to this nation is an incredible gift, and we're grateful and honored every day to do so. Thank you, Mr. President.
Well, thank you, and it's an honor to sign this, and we will do that right now. I think that's a big one, I'll be honest. That's a big one.
That's a big one. Changing the name of a department. It's just...
Do you have any questions on this subject? We're going to be discussing the G20 in a couple of minutes, but yes, please.
Mr. President, what gave you the idea for this rebrand? The question for you, the newly minted Secretary of War. What message does this send to our enemies, to our allies, to the American people? And again, what gave you the idea for this rebrand at this moment in history, sir?
I think it sends a message of victory. I think it sends really a message of strength. We're very strong. We're much stronger than anyone would really understand. And again, having the great equipment, we have just so much better. You look at all of the, just any of it. submarines, as an example. We're 20 years ahead of anyone else. Nobody even compares. And I let a lot of this happen in my first term. We totally rebuilt our military. Then, of course, you had that catastrophe in Afghanistan where they gave up a lot of the equipment, but a relatively small amount, but a lot. It was a lot in Afghanistan. I think it was the most, General, I'd say it was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country, the way that happened.
They gave up a lot? Who gave up a lot again? Who gave that up?
The way they went to the wrong airport. They should have gone to Bagram, not the local little airport with no security, with tight quarters, etc. You know what happened. I think it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, frankly. That was under the Biden administration. It was terrible. And we were going to be leaving, but we were leaving with strength and dignity. We were going to keep Bagram because...
Remember, the big order I think that Mattis refused from Trump, that Trump gets so ass-pained about, was when Trump was on his way out and he was throwing a temper tantrum, is he said he wanted to withdraw everything from Afghanistan. He wanted to leave that place a shithole. And I think that was the big order that got... Apparently they were just like, this guy's just mad as fuck. Just, ignore it.
Bagram's 1 hour away from where China makes its nuclear weapons. We're going to have that all to ourselves, a big, beautiful place built many years ago for money that today would be the equivalent of many, many billions of dollars. You couldn't build it. The longest runways, the most powerful runways in terms of load capacity. And we just walked away from it. So stupid. And they were fools. The people were fools. No, we have the strongest military, and I think that indicates we have the strongest military. And we had it, and we won World War I, we won World War II, we won everything before, and as I said, we won everything in between. And we were very strong, but we never fought to win. We just didn't fight to win. We didn't lose anything, but we didn't fight to win. We could have won every one of those wars quickly, but they went a route that I think was probably politically correct, but not correct for our nation. So I think the Department of War sends a signal. Yeah, please.
You alluded to this a little while ago, but you said that this rename is a good reflection of where the world is at right now. How do you square naming it the Department of War when you've been pursuing peace in so many different parts of the world?
Well, I think I've gotten peace because of the fact that we're strong. If we weren't strong, those 7 deals I told you about, the 7 wars, a majority of them wouldn't have happened. They happened for 2 reasons, trade and our strength. Those are the 2 reasons. And probably strength may be more important than trade. So if I was very proud of all those wars. Those were wars that could not be settled, and I settled all of them. And we'll get the other one settled also. That'll get settled. But without the strength, we wouldn't have settled any of them. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, is it your expectation that Congress will codify this name change in the law?
I don't know, but we're going to find out. But I'm not sure they have to. We're signing an executive order today, but we're going to find out. We're going to see if they do. We're going with it, and we're going with it very strongly. There's a question as to whether or not they have to, but we'll put it before Congress.
Do you know how much this rebrand will actually cost? And they're very concerned about the Pentagon's mission to fight back on spending.
But not a lot. We know how to rebrand without having to go crazy. We don't have to recarve a mountain or anything. We're going to be doing it not in the most expensive. We're going to start changing the stationery as it comes due, and lots of things like that. We're not going to be doing things like have been done in the past when they change the name of forts that shouldn't have been changed. Those names of the forts should not have been changed, at least for the most part. And as you know, many of them have been changed back already. At the request of the communities, every one of those communities said, we want our name back, like Fort Bragg as an example. The people in that community wanted that name back. They refused to call it anything else but Fort Bragg. So we're not going to be spending very much money on that. Yes, please.
When you spoke with the Europeans and Zelensky earlier this week, did you preview this for them, and did you say what security guarantees they might be involved?
This has nothing to do with anybody but the United States of America, the people of America. This is who I talk to about changing a name. This is a very important change because it's an attitude. And we know how to win. We've been winning, and we're going to win like you've never seen. Wait till these factories start to open up that are being built all over the country. You're going to see things happen in this country that nobody expects. We have over $17 trillion in investment.
Up to $17 trillion
coming into the country. We never did anything even remotely close to that. No other country has either, by the way. So you're going to see things that are pretty amazing. But it's really about winning.
And what are the security guarantees aspect of that with Ukraine, sir?
Well, we'll work that out. We'll help them. Look, we want to save a lot of lives, so we'll do something with it. I think people expect that. We'll help them. Europe will be first in by far, and they want to be first in. They want to see it end. Europe wants to see it end, and it'll end. It'll end all of a sudden. It's going to come together. You watch. Did you want something right? Yeah, behind you, please. Yes.
Yes, sir. You haven't been shy about taking bold, decisive, offensive action to protect American values. Strikes in Iran, strikes this past Tuesday, and possibly ID trend era. Narco terrorists. Is that going to be a critical function of the Department of War?
It depends on the individual instance. We don't want drugs coming in from Venezuela or anybody else or any place else, and we'll be tough on that. And we don't want human trafficking. We don't want to see people coming in where they open their prisons from all over the world and they dump their prisoners into our country, which is what they did in the Biden administration, where they took insane asylums and places that held people that were seriously mentally ill, mentally incompetent, mentally dangerous, and they dumped those people into our country, and we're trying to get them out now. What they've done, what the Democrats and Biden have done to this country will go down in infamy, what they have done to our country, and especially that. They created the worst inflation we've ever had. That's nothing compared to what they did with the people in our country right now. And we're getting them out. And it's not easy when you have the liberal judges destroying our country. But we've won them all. We've won it all. Ultimately won it all. Hard process. It should be easier. We know who it is. We know exactly who we're looking for. We had 11,000 murderers dropped into our country. We've gotten a lot of them out.
11,000.
Or in some cases, they're so dangerous, we're afraid to get them out because they come back in. But for the last 120 days, 0 people came in. Can you imagine? This is me speaking, but these are figures developed by, they say, a pretty liberal group of people. They admit that 0 people came into our country. Think of that. A year ago, it was millions of people were coming in. Millions. They were coming in. You could look at them, and you could say, big trouble. And that's what we have in our country. But we're getting them out, and despite that, we're doing really well. Yeah, please. Right? Yeah. Well, the recruitment's the most exciting thing. So when I was campaigning for the office, numbers were coming out that the recruitment numbers, General, you can speak to it better than anybody, the recruitment into the military, all branches of the military, and police and firemen and everything else. Anything having to do with like a public service, the numbers were horrible, record-setting bad. and now they're record-setting good. We're setting every record every month for recruitment. We're packed in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. My beautiful I love Space Command. I love Space. I see Space Command, but Space Force has been. We've got a waiting list of people wanting to go in. A year ago, especially a year and a half ago. You know, when I took.
Wait, who runs this thing now? What is this stupid fucking statement? Oh my god. It was our PAX FEC filing that inadvertently doxed Dylan Burns and other creators we worked with last year. Creators who use our FEC filing as a source are not at fault. That's what? Publicizing somebody's information that you know they don't want publicized for the purposes of harassment is always doxing. It doesn't matter if somebody else accidentally publishes it somewhere first or whatever. If you're just like what a stupid statement. We are a digital third place with a volunteer electoral organization sprinkled on top. Our goal is to become infamous for being the Democrats' greatest threat in the primary, but their greatest ally in the general. Our leadership is Dersey Mollis, Ben J Makes Movies, and Jenny Wolferson, I don't know, and many more volunteers. Jesus, 2 followers, okay. Progressive Victory hired Rana Wu in a contract position in 2023 when we were new in the space and trying to make contact with more creators. We cut ties with Rana in December of 2023, and for good reason. Jesus. As per Destiny, last year, our media program consisted of trying to unite the audiences of as many political creators as possible in order to get them to cross over into each other's content and advertise PV's organizing program. What we quickly discovered is that most creators have very little desire to do either. Well, that's a lie. I think most liberal people are generally pretty willing to work together, or were. It's the leftists that won't work with any of the liberals. With that, we scuttled our media program after the election and have not continued to mix liberal creators with our leftist values. Okay. This year, with stronger community leadership, we have doubled down on the things we are best at, building our community and helping elect the candidates they choose to support. Below, we have attached our revised mission statement, published just prior to this drama unfolding. As you can see, our core organizing strategy is committed to replacing centrist Dems with real progressives. Does this sound like either Brown or Destiny? Okay. One final note, scrutinizes, criticizes, love us, hate us, call us if you want, but our community is not Zionist. We backed Mamdani, and we will back many more like him. You'll just let our future actions speak for themselves. What? Jesus Christ. My God. What a wild fucking statement. If that was my pack, I'd be pretty upset.
The lead in the polls, which was very early, it really helped with the recruiting. And when I won from November 5th on, it's been amazing. And over the last 4
Who's running the org now? I have no idea. It might be the same people who were running it before. I've never ran that org. I've never run the org. Hasan just says this.
5 months it's been, we're just back. It was very hard to get police officers. Now the departments are loaded up. Everyone wants to be a policeman or woman. So it's been a great thing. General, do you want to talk about that?
Sure, as you said, serving our nation is an incredible gift that we give, and the reward on that gift pays back exponentially year over year. And I think the young people of America are seeing the importance of service, and whether it's in any of our armed services or in local police, fire, or rescue, service is an important thing that I personally encourage, and I know everyone else in government service sees that same reward.
And Pete, on recruitment?
I was down at Fort Benning, the newly properly renamed Fort Benning yesterday, watching Army basic training, and they're so full they can't barely handle the throughput. It is truly historic across all the services, as you said. It's been a surge into the, I was going to say the Defense Department, but I would say the War Department. And that you might almost call it a vibe shift, an attitude shift, a feeling that the country is back, that service is backing you. There were military families last year, Mr. President, that said, I don't know if I can recommend, I mean, I wrote a book on this, I don't know if I can recommend service to my son or daughter, given what's been done to our military. You heard it over and over and over again. And I hear from those same military families right now, sir, and they're saying, I recommend to my kids that they go into this department, this Pentagon, under this commander-in-chief, who they know you'll have their back, and they want to serve. So it is historic, and it's the biggest reflection of how motivated Americans are by your leadership, sir.
You know, really, it's nothing more than spirit.
Well, I come from kind of a military family. Well, no, right? We Air Force. I spent time on base. We did the BX, the commissary, and all that, right? I could say I was a kind of a military kid. I don't think I've ever in my entire life heard somebody say, you should join the military right now because I like this president. That's a crazy, but maybe some people do, or maybe different branches are different, or maybe different groups of people speak different. I don't think I've ever in my life heard a statement even remotely like that. That sounds like the most retarded thing in the world. I did ROTC for a bit, and then I dropped out because the Dems won. Or like, I was going to get my degree and go in as an officer, but then Trump lost the election, so I became a sociologist instead. Like, what? Maybe? I don't know. Whatever. Jesus. Why didn't you enlist? I tried, but I didn't weigh enough. Fuck the recruiters. Which doesn't even make sense in retrospect, because if I wanted to join the Air Force and I was a pilot, wouldn't you want light people? Wouldn't that be the best? Destiny, this isn't true. The USAF wanted 1,800 pilots this quarter and only ended up with like 1,100. Damn. Okay, the New Yorker trash for inviting pro 9/11 radical Hasan Piker. The New York Magazine is being ripped for inviting controversy. Being ripped by who? By the New York Post? Oh my God, kill me. Ah! Jesus. I don't. Okay. Hasan responds to the doxing allegations.
Bible. Wait, someone just said, what is this? This guy just got banned. Wait, hold on. What the fuck? Someone just said I doxed. I streamed the address of Dylan Burns just said you streamed his Addy. Is that true? What? Wait, what? Why the fuck would that be true? Do you think I know who the fuck Dylan Burns is? Or what he does, let alone find his address and then stream it? What are these people saying, bro?
I think this guy, actually, I don't know if he still hates me or not. Or we used to hate each other on Twitter. I don't know if this guy's a lefty or a progressive or what, but he posts a lot of good tweets, okay? Hasan Piker, every time he needs to lie through his fucking teeth.
What? Dylan Dis.
Wait, that wasn't my soundboard. That laugh, that was his laugh. It sounded like it sounded like that, but that was actually him. Hold on, look, I'm not pushing it. Hold on.
Dylan Distance.
Wait.
That's.
I'm not pushing it. That was his. That was him. Sorry. Okay.
Dylan Distance. That's my address, buddy. Are we just fucking? You still haven't denied it? What the fuck? Are people just like now they've decided to just like make new and unique and creative things up? Is that what's going on?
Void going.
Also.
Apparently this was Hasan talking about him in the past.
Here is his response to Dylan.
For those of you who said, chat, has he responded to Dylan Burns' post, by the way, before getting clapped?
He even uses his full name.
If you think that I would entertain such a psychotic thing ever in my life, I don't know what to tell you. There is nothing more perverted and psychopathic than literally putting Ukrainian people in Ukraine that are being fucking bombed, okay, by an invading
Hasan was banning people asking about the video.
Force that is unjustifiably occupying their country, making Ukrainians sit down and fucking watch my clips out of fucking context in a way that you have framed it.
So literally one of the people there is an ex-Hasan fan. He literally just gave the mic to Ukrainians to let them respond to Hasan's positions. And this is how he frames it. He's finally admitting, by the way, that they're having their nation invaded by an imperialist power. But he says it in such a way as to criticize someone making a video correcting his Russian propaganda. He is willing to very, very lightly criticize Russia indirectly through infantilizing Ukrainians as a way of defending himself and his propaganda.
Yeah. Dylan Burns, Hunter Avalon, Hutch.
Oh, this was just last week.
his own personal chef. Like this is what happened. This is what took place. Okay, and the PAC actually did unironically raise a bunch of money off of like people who thought that they were giving money to a
viably occupying their
political
country.
action committee that was going to go around and you know do door knocking campus operations, which they did, but then also turned around and basically created this fucking like pay structure for a bunch of Destiny's friends.
They paid people that did work for the company. That's generally what people do. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
For those of you who said, Chad, has he responded to Dylan Burns' post, by the way, before getting clapped? If you think that I would entertain such a psychotic thing ever in my life, I don't know what to tell you. There is nothing more perverted and psychopathic than literally putting Ukrainian people in Ukraine that are being fucking bombed, okay, by an invading force that is unjustifiably occupying their country, making Ukrainians sit down and fucking watch my clips out of fucking context in a way that you have framed it, to have them go, oh wow, how fucked up, fuck this guy. It is literally the most unimaginably insane thing I've ever seen in my entire life. It completely betrays how much you care about the conflict that you are covering on the ground. It's nasty as fuck. It's such a weird psychopathic thing to do, especially considering that I have time and time again, over and over again, repeated my position, okay, that it is completely unjustifiable to invade Ukraine. Russia is cruel for doing such an act, and that Ukrainians, of course, have a just cause for emancipation. Not only that, but I've also raised money for Ukrainian refugees. This community has raised $300,000 for Ukrainian refugees. It is so insane to do a Jubilee video on this, okay? I don't know what to say. It basically betrays the position that you have, like, oh, I genuinely care about this. That's why I went out there, not because I'm like a fucking war tourist pervert, but I went out there because I care about these people. So what am I doing? I'm like fucking using this as an opportunity to be like, yeah, look how bad this guy is. Like, what the fuck? For those of you who said, Chad, has he responded to Dylan Burns' post, by the way, before getting clapped?
War tourist pervert.
Dylan Burns doing 20 vids on this now. Yeah. Who? Saying, are you gonna go on Piers Morgan again? What do you think of Dylan Burns? Are you gonna debate him? Like, shut the fuck up, dude. Please debate chatters, please. Please, I beg you, just get a job, get a life. The only person I saw defend it was Dylan Burns. That's it.
Who?
Dylan Burns doing 20 vids on this now.
Kind of weird. Hutch and Ethan Klein chat about Zionist and Destiny Orbiter accusations by Hasan.
Hey, Boogie.
Do I want to watch this, or am I gonna get triggered?
Man, like Destiny is not even involved in this pack, and somehow, and even though it includes almost everybody he knows, he's still somehow able to deploy Destiny as this omnipresent boogeyman that explains that all of Destiny's friends are being paid by a slush fund.
This is what they do. Like when that crowd identifies you as an enemy for deviating even just 1% from their orthodoxy, they will call you a Zionist and they will call you a Destiny Orbiter, even though I have not spoken to Destiny since January. Like,
are you a Destiny Orbiter, Hutch?
I have never been a Destiny Orbiter. Yeah, the whole situation is just you know, I like, listen, we cover politics. You know, I don't know how much you guys cover politics these days, but if you're a political creator, you know, you hop into this arena and you kind of know, like, one of the things you have to just make peace with is that you're going to be dealing with people that have, you know, pretty big communities. They're going to be really passionate about these issues. And that's fine. Like, if you want to call me bald or ugly or whatever, like, that stuff does not hurt my feelings after like 16 years on the internet. If you want to attack my positions and say that I have a bad argument or something like that, that's fair game. I might even concede that it's a bad argument in this case or that case. But to accuse me and everybody else that was involved with that pack of like this kind of corruption, and they took it even further. I mean, he was claiming that they were paying us to be, you know, silent on Gaza. There's nothing to point to justify that claim. Like nothing.
That's a really heinous accusation.
In this days, especially when people are...
That's like a kill shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially when some of the people involved are some of the most like rabid anti-Zionist, pro-Palestinian fucking people everywhere, right? And it's like, okay.
Of this.
Oh, I might go into this. Did I put this on my stream title? For 5 o'clock. I might dive into that.